let's talk about using tables to export step files using Nitro-CELL. And to do this, we're going to actually create a table, but I want to find out what the command arguments are. So I'm going to put in, let's see, step. We're going to do a table model export step command. And this requires an input table. And as you can see here, it requires the item name, and we have an optional output name. We also have the optional output directory, and then also some various arguments for like how do we want to configure the step for export. Now, step files, when they generate, are going to generate log files. So to just try to keep this a little bit cleaner, I'm going to actually create a directory underneath our current working directory, and we'll call this step files. Okay. Now, this does need a table, so we're going to use a Excel table here, and it needs item name. Whoops, item name. And let's just put basket.prt and maybe screen.prt, if I spell it right. Screen.prt, and maybe cone.prt. Okay, so I'm going to highlight these things. I'm going to do Control T to actually create a table and tell it that it has headers, and then we're just going to give this a name of like my table. It's going to be the table name. So we just need that reference. So we're going to put in a TBL colon my table, and then the subdirectory we're going to write that to is going to be step files. So we'll just copy this value right to here. And when we run this within this working directory, it should create a subdirectory and just that quickly write out those step files. So if we clear our session here and pull in this basket part, you'll notice that that step file, when it comes in, looks exactly like we want it to be. You can also do this for assemblies too. So if we just said, well, let's actually use speaker.asm, and we'll open this up in session just so we can make sure that we got the right name here. So the cool thing about this is that I'm just quitting window, and I'm going to put that in as just speaker.asm. So this also works for things that are just in session. So if I run this, you'll notice that step files directory is already there, and it's created our speaker STP file. If we drag that into Creo, acknowledges it's an assembly, you'll notice that it's doing all the imports and all the models that are there. There is our step file of our assembly. So pretty handy function, and you can extend this with Power Query, use wildcards and all kinds of cool stuff with it. So that's basically how it works.